iZombie Season 3, Episode 4, Wag the Tongue Slowly. It's a weird title for this episode, but I know why they did that, because of course, the brains in this episode lead Liv to be just the gossip of the episode. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It wasn't as crazy as they kind of made it seem in the promo. The character herself that actually died, that was pretty obvious. I mean, just the whole beginning of the episode was just basically a montage of her saying, did you know about this and did you hear about that? And I really love what they did with the case in this episode, because it was like, okay, so we have three separate people who are all able to kind of account for each other, and then they get some clues here and there. I'm like, all right, so are all these people guilty? Are two of these people guilty? But they're kind of framing two other people, and it was just a bunch of stuff happening, because I'm like, man, they're getting a bunch of clues, and it's like, we still don't know who the F is innocent and who's actually guilty. So I love the way they did the clues in this episode. We do get a vision. We only got one vision this episode. I thought they were kind of doing a lot like the last episode where there were no visions, but it was late in the game. But we got a vision towards the end of the episode, and it was like that's kind of what led them to their next big clue. But I love the way they handled that. I thought it was a pretty good case, because it was just like, all right, so we got, you know, three main people, and then, you know, they had like the guy Peter, I believe was his name, who they were kind of framing in the beginning. And it was just going back and forth, like, all right, so they have an answer about this person and that person, but they're alibis that are for all these people. And I thought ultimately it came down in a pretty good way. I was like, that's a pretty cool way to solve it, and we find out exactly what's going on, because there are so many clues and so many different people involved. I'm like, I'm not sure who's guilty and who's being framed to be guilty. I was like, are these people so smart that they're like framing, you know, multiple people at once? But I like the way it came out for sure. I thought that was pretty good. The other side of this story, we kind of have, you know, leading into, you know, kind of from the beginning of the episode, leading into kind of the truth about this new version of the serum and what's going to happen. Unfortunately, we find out by the end, possibly, that Blaine does not regain his memories. And honestly, I'm just like, man, you know, because I was thinking, like, what if he always had his memories? That was kind of my big guess. It's like, maybe it'll be revealed that he always had his memories. But now it's like, well, he's taking the serum. Someone else is going to take that serum. Who knows if it's going to be Major, which most likely it will be. But we may also see Natalie, who is actually found in this episode. That kind of blew my mind. But I'll certainly be getting to that. But I'm like, man, they say that Blaine doesn't have his memories. And so also he and Peyton end up together by the end of this episode. And I'm like, that would be something if after all this, he actually did get his memories back, and he's just, now he actually is playing the part of someone who doesn't have his memories. So it's like, now it's just kind of doubled on top of each other. Like, I kind of thought he was faking before, but now it's like, he could definitely be faking now. And of course, that's going to be a reveal in the future if that is the case, because of course, you know, whether Natalie takes it or not, Major of course will. So we're going to find out the truth one way or the other. Like, you know, he'll still have his memories, and then it's like, oh, would you look at that? You know, Blaine's been lying to us and kind of sticking close to the team so he can get more information and stuff. So we'll see what happens. It's Blaine, so I'm just like, you know, at this point, I'm still all over, you know, Blaine being the villain. I'm just like, I don't know. It just seems too good to be true that he's just lost his memories and now he's just, you know, a good guy, part of the team. I just don't see it happening. So I don't know. Maybe, I mean, 2 full seasons of this dude. It's just like, I don't know. I can't really buy it that he's just permanently good. I feel like he probably got his memories back, and they're just waiting to reveal that in the future when Major ends up taking this cure. But he goes through the whole episode. They do like a full week. I didn't realize that. I thought we'd have to wait until the next episode. But then it gets to the end, and it's like, all right, tomorrow is the day. And I was like, oh, they went through like a whole week in the one episode. So I was happy to see that it was so fast-paced, and we didn't have to wait. We didn't actually have to wait another episode to find out, you know, possibly find out whether or not he regained his memory. So I thought that was actually nice that they kind of just fast-tracked that storyline. Like, yep, you took the cure, here you go. Just one episode, and we got an answer by the end. So that was nice that, you know, they fast-tracked it. But we'll see what happens in the future with that. But they do, like I said, expand upon Blaine and Peyton's relationship, where they do ultimately end up together by the end of this episode. Ravi is going through, like, a spiral of depression after, of course, Peyton having found out that he slept with someone else after saying he loved her and after kissing her, which I mentioned in my review. I was like, that, you know, I was kind of on his side when he said that he loved her and stuff, and I was like, you know, I get why he might not think it would work, but actually kissing her after having done that was a dick move. I felt that way as well. And of course, that's brought up in the episode by Liv, where she's like, so you say you love her, and then you sleep with your boss, and then you still kiss her. Like, there was a much better way to do it. Still would have sucked, I'm sure. But he went in for the kiss and everything, and it was just like, yep, that just makes it a horrible move. So, of course, he's in a spiral, whole episode. He, admittedly, as depressed as he was, he had the funniest stuff in this entire episode to me. The stuff they had Robbie doing was hilarious. Like, when Major was saying, like, we could go on a stakeout, he was like, you don't even have to wear pants. And he did, like, that super slow turn, and he was just like, I guess. Like, that was just really funny to me. Him being in the car with him, just like, Major was saying, like, your wits are as, he was like, your wits are as smart as your puns are dry, or something, like, your humor is dry. And it was just really good. Like, the stuff they had Robbie doing was making me laugh a lot in this episode. And it was just, like, him depressed was kind of funny, and him just saying, like, there's no point, this whole thing was like, there's no point in living, and then towards the end of the episode, he ends up helping Liv and Clive, and he has to go through, like, 30 pornos to help them figure out if this woman is involved. And the scene where he slowly, like, walked past the door and he's just, like, looking through, and it distracted Clive, that made me laugh a lot too. So as depressed as he was, he had the funniest stuff in this episode to me. Like, he was just really funny. And then he just got obsessed with the porn star because he watched, like, all of her movies. And it's just like, wouldn't it be weird to ask for an autograph? And he's just walking past, like, look, there she is. So it was just really funny, the stuff they did with him. For him having been, like, the saddest character in the episode, it was actually, he led to, like, my favorite moments, at least as far as comedy. But they did some good stuff with him. Major was on the brink of destruction in this episode. I'm like, man, I don't know what's going to happen with him, because they go on the stakeout, they end up falling behind the car. Of course they get busted. As soon as they had that conversation where it's like, oh, we're losing them, I was like, man, they're going to turn this corner and they're going to be busted. And of course that's exactly what happens. The guy's in the road and he gets their information and stuff. He just, looks at their names on their IDs. So Major decides he's still going to go for it. It's like, the guy says if he sees you again, he's going to kill you. And Major's like, yeah, but he won't see me. So, of course, he has the tracking device on him. He goes to the hotel, and he actually ends up seeing Natalie, although it was really funny. And there's actually a tweet on this that I can't remember. I don't know the actual actor's name that plays Major, but he mentioned that he was holding the binoculars backwards. I don't know if that was meant to be a joke or what, but I was like, even when I was watching, I was like, that's pretty sure those are backwards. And I know they knew they were backwards because obviously he was looking through them. So I don't know why they chose to do that, but it was very clear that they had him use the binoculars backwards. I don't know, maybe it had like a logo on it, so they didn't want to blur it out or something. I don't know, but I'm like, why are these backwards? Like, I noticed that. I was like, maybe, with tactical, I don't know. I just assumed, I was like, I'll just go with it. It's a tactical thing or something weird like that. But the binoculars were backwards in that scene where he's in the car looking up. And so I don't know why that is the case, but the binoculars were backwards. For anyone who may have thought they looked weird, I thought the same thing. And then when I went on Twitter, he was like, yep, it was a bold character choice. And it was just like, all right, they chose to go with that, even though obviously they knew the binoculars were backwards. So there's something to it, but I just thought I'd mention that because they were definitely backwards. So that was funny to me. But somehow he actually ends up finding Natalie, which admittedly I was surprised by. I didn't think he'd see her. Like, he looks up and I was just like, holy crap, she's actually there. So he goes up, he actually gets to her room, he's able to find her, and she doesn't want to leave because she's freaking out. And of course this guy, most likely the bodyguards, all zombies, and she's like, you have no idea what they'll do to you. Of course they know actually how to kill him because they're zombies as well. So she's just like, you gotta get out of here, you can't really be here to protect me. I love the fact that they played the music, which was the Don Quixote stuff. That I thought was really great, and just the reference to Don Quixote I thought was really funny. But he goes up there and he tries to save her. He gives her the cure, so we'll see what happens there. And I feel like considering he gave it to her, that's how we are going to get the reveal. I feel like even though he has all this stuff going on with his inhaler and everything, although that might not matter because the way they end the episode, which it was like barely referenced, it was just like a little thing where he's like, yeah, we're on call, we might actually be boots on the ground. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then by the end of the episode, he actually is in some sort of crazy situation. Like, I don't know what it could possibly be, like where they're headed or, what the heck they're doing. So I'm just like, I don't really know what to expect from this next episode. But by the end, he is, he's armored up. He's got his weapons and they're like, real bullets. Don't make sure the enemies don't make you real dead. So who knows where the F they are. But I feel like this is kind of a precursor to what we may or may not get within the actual city as far as the whole zombie killings and stuff like that, because I didn't think they would actually be on call for anything. I just assumed they, kind of like they mentioned, they're just training until the day comes when it's like, we gotta fight people. I didn't think they'd already be doing that. So I don't know where they're headed, but I'm very excited to see what answers we get from this next episode. And also, he doesn't have the cure with him. I don't think they'd kill him off because, with him not having the cure on him, he would die if he had an attack that wasn't, the inhaler couldn't solve. So I'm assuming he'll be fine. It might cause some other people to die that are less important, but I don't know. I'm very curious what we're going to be getting from this next episode. So I'm excited for that. Of course, we have, by the end of the episode, we kind of have Liv and Clive going back to the zombie killing thing and people just being worried about zombies and things like that. And they run into this guy who's like a total clan member, which they, like, as soon as he turned around, he's like, right on, white power. I was just like, what in the world is going on? So that was just a crazy sequence, but he's talking to them. And he's like, yeah, my brother sent me a picture. He showed me a zombie. And they're like, well, can we see it? He's like, sorry, he took it to his grave. And he ends up showing them this picture of a dude who was, of course, at the Max Rager event who was a zombie. And so this guy knows that there are zombies. He knows that his brother was killed by zombies. And, he mentioned something that is technically true, legally speaking. It's like you can't murder what's already dead. And it's like, oh, man, they're, people kind of going full force, getting around certain loopholes and zombies and things being dead or, undead or whatever. So they're getting a bit closer to some real, territory type war stuff. So I don't know how crazy things are supposed to get by the end of the season, but it's certainly ramping up. We got characters, there are way too many people now. It was kind of hidden before, but now it's like we had that radio show, and now we have this message board, and Robbie's former boss. There's so many people super close to the truth, and some people who just flat out believe it, and they aren't wrong, even if they don't know 100%. Some people just believe it, and they're right. This guy, from the end of this episode, he actually knew. His brother showed him a picture and everything, so he actually knew. And, his brother worked for Max Rager and everything, so it's like, that guy knows that zombies exist. So it's just, there are just so many different crazy elements where it's like some people believe that there are zombies and they're right. Some people know for a fact that there are zombies. Some people are just getting closer to the fact that there are zombies. And it's just getting more and more dangerous. So I don't know where we're headed for the end of the season, but they're really building it up. So I don't know if we're going to get full-on war or anything like that, but that seems to be where it's headed, based off of what they're doing with these characters and just random people popping up. And it's like, some people it's just like, whatever, I think zombies exist. Some people have straight up proof. Some people were given proof in the past, so now they're full force on the zombie killing train. And it's just like, okay, I don't know where we're headed. It might take a while anyway because it's still the beginning of the season, but they seem to be ramping up for sure, going towards some all-out war. But I thought this was a pretty good episode. Definitely funny with depressed Robbie. So we'll see where that goes. We'll see what's going on with Major and him actually being sent out on a mission. Who knows with Blaine? Maybe he doesn't have his memories. Maybe he does. Maybe he always did. Who the F knows? So we'll see what happens there. But there's a lot that went down in this episode that I thought was pretty good. And they're leading into some pretty interesting stuff for future episodes as well. So I really enjoyed it. Of course, I'd love to know what you guys thought about it. So please comment below. Leave me your favorite parts, or least favorite parts. And I think I already asked this before as far as Blaine, so I'll skip over that. I would love to know your theories on that and his memory loss or lack thereof. But I really want to know what you guys think we're going to be getting from Major having been sent out on a mission. I hope they don't skip over it. They might, just because it seems like it would actually be a lot to do in an episode, all out gunplay and all that stuff, which we haven't really had since the season 1 finale where he went in and was killing all those people. Even the second episode, they had a bunch of people in makeup, but it wasn't all-out war type stuff. So I don't know exactly how hardcore they're going to really go with the gunplay and explosives and weapons and military training. So we'll see. But I would love to know your theories on what answers we might get, where in the world he could possibly be headed. They were in a helicopter. It doesn't mean they went to another country. I'm sure they're somewhere in the States still. But who knows? I'm just very curious what answers we're going to get. But I would love to know what theories you guys have and what you think we're going to get. And of course, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below and let me know. And thanks for watching.